So what, so what is good cash flow? As I said before, it's more money coming in than out. And if we keep an eye on that, it's making the business, it's the lifeblood of the business. Profit will kill you in the end. It's like a disease, but bad cash flow, it's like cutting your wrist. You'll die very quickly. You'll die a very quick death. And and people who have been in that position know how quickly, as soon as you run out of money, the banks stop lending you money. You don't have money to buy your supplies or pay your rent or whatever. So why is good cash flow important? It's a major stress factor, especially when you can't pay your bills. Bills are one of the big things that people struggle, and then they worry about them. The reason we're in business is to make money, and you need to pay yourself a proper salary. Not as I see a lot of times, people are actually getting paid less than what their workers are. Keeping the doors open, that's at front of mind for a lot of people. If you're going to shut your doors, you've then got to put all your staff off. There's a lot, and people think we're all hard business people, but at the end of the day, when you have to lay your staff off, it becomes very stressful. There's an ABS a statistic that came out in 2016 that 60% of businesses will close their doors within 3 years. Now, that's a terrible statistic, and the main reason for that happening is it's a lack of cash flow. Lack of cash flow, it's is just the main cause. Now, if we had a statistic like that, one of the things I like to imagine it is if the police upped their activity and said, okay, we're going to book a lot more people for speeding on the road, which we all do it, and you end up with 2/3 of the drivers being taken out of the driver's seat and put back into the passenger seat, there'd be an uproar. But for some reason, we can have 2/3 of businesses close their doors and there's very little reaction to it. It's just taken as an everyday event, which I think it's not a very good reaction. So cash flow is one of the things that will keep your operating and making a lifestyle out of your business. Keep the cash flowing. It's we need to think about this, and it's very important at this time with COVID happening. There's a whole lot of changes happening in the business community. This webinar is one of the things, and the other important thing is these government grants that are coming out from COVID. The one thing I'd like to say about this is that a lot of people are doing it themselves, but I would see your accountant to make sure that you've covered everything off, because it's going to come a time, and the ATO has talked about this, that post-COVID, I think the government's going to say, wow, we've spent all this money, we better get a bit back. And there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on businesses who probably shouldn't have claimed it. And I've seen some articles about businesses that are, the government finding they're scamming it. So there's going to be a lot of attention in that. So I'd be very careful about that. Most people are upfront with what they're meant to claim, but there's a few out there that are going to strike trouble, and you don't want to be coming into the ATO scrutiny and you've made a few mistakes. Another thing that I like to do with my clients is to find out what your profit product is. And that's looking at the product that gives you the most profit. You focus on selling that product, and because you've got products in your business that don't make as much profit. You look at that main one, specialize in that product. And the other thing is, you don't discount. Discount, to me, is one of the cardinal sins of business, because you're devaluing your product. If you don't have a product that's got value, well, or if it doesn't have as much value, you probably should reduce your price. But that it's much better to find the value and sell to that. You need to know your numbers, and this is something that I see a lot of people, the shutters come down when they talk about accounting, numbers, and look, the language of business is accounting, and if you don't know the language, you're going to struggle throughout your business. Now, there's three main numbers from an accounting point of view, and that's profit, cash, and revenue. Now, revenue is about sales, and a lot of businesses go broke when they're just worrying about sales. They'll discount to get the sales. Your profit is the amount of money that you have over the top of over your costs. So that's overheads as well, not just the cost of the product, but you've got to include the overheads. And cash is the other one, which is different to profit, because it's basically collecting your money. Collecting your money is the most important thing. I see a lot of tradies. They think the job's over once they put their tools in the ute. The job is actually over when the cash hits the bank. So it's something that a lot of people have learnt the hard way over the years and haven't collected their money. And at the end of the day, it's your money. It's not your client's money once you've done the service. You've got a price for profit. You need to look at the cost of the product. You need to look at the overheads, and you need to price that you can take money out of that business, which will build your lifestyle and also create wealth. And the wealth is, us business people don't put much away for super or anything like that. We should probably think about that and including that in the price. As I said before, you need to collect your money. You need to make sure that, your money that you've worked for, you've collected it. The other thing is, marketing and sales have their own set of numbers. And when I talk about knowing your numbers, it's not just about the accounting numbers. It's about, understanding your marketing and your sales numbers. And there's quite a few other numbers in a business that everyone should be very aware of. Okay, I want to talk very quickly, and then I'll hand it over to Stuart. I had a client who, and this is back in the days of early days of SEO marketing. Larry was, and I find a story pulls all that theory together and gives you a better understanding. That's from my point of view, anyhow, whether that is. Anyway, Larry was at the markets, earning about $25,000 a year, selling candles and soap. He living in a rental apartment. He then, for reasons, he went and did an SEO course. And this is about 11, 12 years ago. He came back, and really what struck me about this was that the course also concentrated on the numbers. So he got the numbers right, and he also learned, he had this knowledge about marketing. found a product. He just focused on the one product. He went online and started marketing to a bigger market than one he found in the local markets. 3 years in, and his biggest problem was that he was paying too much tax. So he had to go through and reduce that tax. And then at 5 years, because he was 60 when he decided to go off and get educated, at 65, he decided to sell the business. At the end of the 5 years, he had after, and also I just want to reiterate that he was very, very up on his numbers. Probably one of my better clients who understood the numbers. That was about how to price for profit, how to, he knew all his marketing numbers. He knew the lot. At the end of the 5 years, he owned his own property. He owned 2 rental properties. He had $500,000 in the bank or thereabouts. And his lifestyle now is that he lives in Cambodia for 6 months and Australia for the other 6 months. And that's all based around the weather. And it's a completely different life to where he was working in the markets. And I put a lot of that down. I mean, there was a lot of his drive and enthusiasm and passion. But I saw all that grow with the more money he made. It just kept driving him on and on. So I've always, loved that story because it just shows you what you can do by knowing your numbers and having keeping a very close eye on your cash flow. So look, that's my story, and I'd like to pass it over to Stuart now and let him tell you where he's at with his journey. So
pass it on. No worries, Pat. Thank you very much for that. So I will move on to Stuart's journey. Stuart is from CKP Creative, as I said at the top of the webinar. I've known Stuart for quite a while now, and is very, very dynamic. It's awesome to have him here. And he actually joins us from a recording studio. He lives the life of a rock star. Stuart George, are you there, big fella?
I certainly am. Good morning, everybody. Great to be part of the Logan Chamber of Commerce. Now, there will be a book. I'm going to have to release this on the trials and tribulations. But one of the great privileges I've had is to actually work with Pat. And we met going back almost 2 years ago. But our journey started with CKP in 1998. And started off as a music production company and also corporate entertainment. What we found as soon as we launched is that there's this thing called marketing and sales, as Pat mentioned, and we suddenly had to educate ourselves. So it was a very, very steep learning curve. I learned Photoshop. I learned how to code. I rapidly rolled out websites, and you should see what they look like. I actually rolled one out the other day, and they literally have digital dust on them. Quite amazing. But they function well. So anyway, as we moved through, our business evolved. And as I understand, we're pretty much banned from using the word pivot. But I used to say we've made it about as many pivots as Baryshnikov. So over the years, you've got to be doing that. As we moved through, we were impacted by federal budgets. We were impacted by the GFC, rapid changes there where we had to actually roll into a different aspect of the business because a large portion was actually performance. So, but there was always creating digital content, websites and training in digital for our peers in the music industry and beyond. We had some great introductions to some international companies, including Mazda, which we work with as well, producing some music for. And so it was a roller coaster ride and a little bit of rock star thrown in for good measure. So 2007, we had to rapidly change, as I mentioned. We rolled into production content. And then rolled out of that, and I say we because myself, along with my wife, has been along for the journey, of course, and you know, very much a huge part of what we're doing. So 2017, we actually rolled directly into web and design and development, full tilt. So next slide, please, sir. And so we've had the privilege over this time of working with hundreds of clients, and if you hit go again, that'll scroll past. So this is just a few, and it's been an absolute pleasure working with small, national, international, and government as well, which has been brilliant. So and hitting next as well. So my cash flow journey with Pat. So if we hit next, met with Pat, and it was a great meeting, and I found him to be straight up. There's no cutting corners. We identified the profit value of all of our products. We discussed good cash flow, really, really important. It was a really good wake-up call. We then created some strategies for good cash flow. We reviewed our process and our billing flow, and we established that there was things that we could do to fix that. And even now, every day, we're refining that process too, to the point now where I fire off an estimate, our client approves it, and they automatically get a part payment. We have a system installed now that Pat's working with us closely on, which is just solving so many issues for us. We actually established that we needed to change our company structure because we were operating as a sole trader, but as we were moving forward, we needed to quickly change that. So we initiated a company structure, which Pat helped us guide through as well. Then, as we were at that time, there was myself, my wife, we were working round the clock. We had one team member, and if we hit next, we've now gone from 3 to a team of 6, plus 3 part-time. And we are well on our way to from 6 figures through to 7 figures. So that's our constant goals. And every, you know, the constant check-ins with Pat are critical to make sure that we're on track. It's really, really important. So we're in troubling times right now, and that looks nasty. It actually looks like a disco COVID to me. But what should we be doing in this time? Should we be sticking our head in the sand? No. What we should be doing is hitting next. We should be getting online, absolutely. And that's not just because I'm in the business. This is because everybody is sitting in front of their computers. You are. I'm doing more online meetings than I've ever done before and loving it. It's brilliant. So we need to adapt. We need to strategize. You need to find the people who have got the answers for you. Adapt your business. We've been working with gyms that had to close their doors, and they just said, that's it. We're done. We're going to go through the hoop. And I said, no, don't do that. Go online. There's strategies. Zoom. It's easy. Have a look. There's so many opportunities for you. That gym pushed forward, and they're now online. And when they open their doors fairly soon, because everything's being relaxed moving forward, but we've all got to stay safe, they're actually going to continue that. So it's actually another vertical of their business, which they didn't have before. A gap analysis is really, really important. Work out what's working and what isn't. And this is when you need to go back to your products. Staying connected with your clients, no putting your head in the sand. You've got to actually communicate with them. You must let them know what you're doing. One of the great things that we've recommended everybody does is put a banner up on your site saying you're still active and you're still moving forward. And Google My Business. There's actually a warning on everybody's Google My Business. You might have noticed it. Unless you update that record, you're missing out on advertising to everybody that you are open and you are moving forward. If there's something changed, let them know. Use the time to strategize and plan. Nobody gets this. Nobody gets the time to take a breath. My garden has never looked cleaner because I've actually been able to not be running around everywhere having meetings, but actually consolidate my time. And above all, don't panic. It reminds me of the famous Douglas Adams book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic. Okay, next slide, please. So now I'm going to hand back to Pat now. So we're going to continue on. Down the road a little bit further, and as you can see, you can end up on a holiday if you plan your cards right. So thanks very much. Over to you, Pat.
Thank you, Stuart. Okay, to wind up with the presentation, the results of a good cash flow. And next one, Stuart, please. So one of the things out of a good cash flow is to have, it's basically what we're in the business for, is the money. And, you can have all the other reasons, but just a couple of the reasons that, I'm in business is that it produces a great lifestyle and gives you time with your family. Being a successful person, it lowers your stress if you've got the positive cash flow. The other thing with your money is when you've got good cash flow, you can create some wealth, and that's what we need. We all need a bit of that moving forward for retirement, or just going on holidays and that sort of thing. So the results are all positive when you have a positive cash flow. So that's my message today. And as I go back to that statistic that we talked about before, and that's how 2/3 of businesses are shutting down because of a lack of cash flow. And it's no good throwing your head into the sand. Everyone needs to take it on board. And when I say know your numbers, it's very simple. It's taking the time to understand. For example, when you price a product, you look at the costs. You need to look at the overheads, and that part of the profit. You don't need to give that away to your clients by discounting. Just make sure that you've got your share of the money. So that's pretty much for my.
That's it for you, for Pat. Thank you very much, Pat. I will throw it over to a question, but I'm going to ask a question very quickly of all the attendees here. There's a little button down on the chat window where you can raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have an active relationship with your accountant. Just wanted to do a quick poll and see how many people actually have an active relationship with their accountant. Currently, just for interest, we have 11 attendees at the moment, and I have 5 hands up. The other thing I would ask is, if you are not a member of the Logan Chamber of Commerce Facebook group, that's a private group, you probably need to drop in the chat window and let me know. I know that Carolyn is here with us this morning, and I'll get her to speak in a few seconds. But as I did say, if you're on that group, you'll get access to these particular offers, which is only for those that are on the call today. Stuart, you had a little something that you wanted to offer the guys that are on today?
Absolutely. So, and this is seriously, there's no hard sell whatsoever. What we've established is there's a lot of people who are just missing little things, and those little things add up to big things, as we all know. It's the evil story of the Paul Kelly song, unfortunately. And so what we've been doing is doing some very, very detailed audits on not only people's websites, but their Google My Business, and then coming back with actionable items that they can do. So this is open to everybody who would care to dive in. More than happy to do that, and having a really good and hard look at the gaps that exist with your online presence. So I'd love to offer that to everybody, and that is completely free. And we would just love to help.
No worries. We will put that on the Logan Facebook group. Pat, did you have anything you particularly wanted to offer?
Yes. Look, what I offer, Stuart, is to actually sit down, and at the moment we're not sitting down. We're probably doing a Zoom meeting, and just have a conversation with people about their business, and just looking at their cash flow. yeah, you know, whether it's a half an hour or an hour, just to sit down with people, and there's no obligation. It's completely free, and because I mean, as you know, I like to talk, like to sit down and have a chat.
I haven't noticed.
So yeah, look, if anyone's interested, I like to sit down with people, have a chat about their business, and just help them start to understand about this you know, what people can do in business to avoid this horrendous statistic that's out there. And if I can help people just to avoid that, you know, close. And when I say close the doors, I mean, people, when you're in business, you should be able to go and sell your business at the end of the day for a very good profit. Most people just walk away. They, well, 2/3 just walk away from the business, and the really, you know, the bad cases, they go into bankruptcy. And look,
all right, I'm going to wrap you up there, mate, because I know you will go on forever if I let you.
All right.
So there's Pat's details. Make sure you're a member of the group. David, I will check that you are a member, and if not, but next week we have Business to Business webinar series. That's the same time, same Logan Chamber channel. Digital marketing with Carolyn Ferrando. Now, Carolyn is our social media specialist in the Chamber. She is from Hawthorne Social. Carolyn, are you there?
I am. Good morning, everyone.
Very quickly, you've got some special guests joining you next week.
I do. I've got Chantel Jarity. She's our resident Facebook marketing expert, and we've got Deb Perkis from Social Media Angel and myself, and together we're going to be unpacking all things digital marketing across all the platforms. So we're going to look at every platform and how you can best use them as a small business owner or just a business owner.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to that for next week. Our committee, I want to thank them. We had a first committee meeting at our sponsor, Meadowbrook Golf Club, yesterday morning. There were 10 of us in the room. We were very good. We all sat further apart, and but it was really cool to get back together. And a huge shout out to Emma, our new secretary, who's doing a fabulous job. But if you are not connected with these folk, you really should be on social media, all except Eric, who avoids social media, and we have special ways of connecting with him. And of course, we like to thank our sponsors, the Logan Office of Economic Development and Logan City Council, Meadowbrook Golf Club, Invest Logan, Rebel 90.5, and The Breeze 101 FM, the largest community radio station anywhere in Australia. We're very proud of them. And of course, fabulous IKEA. If you want to be a sponsor, please send an email to sponsorship. It's not very expensive, and you do get some great information, get your name out there. That's it for us. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous morning. Go and have another cup of coffee if you haven't already had one. I'm Stuart Fleming, the president of Logan Chamber of Commerce. I'll be here to host the next one and take you through it and guide you through digital marketing. Until then, stay safe.